Hi, I'm Karen Hurt, and I'm here with our next edition of Asking for a Friend. And I got this question, and I knew exactly who to call. My friend Bob Miglani, who is the author of a book called Embrace the Chaos. So, we're all feeling that right now. So, how do I deal with all of this chaos and uncertainty that I'm feeling right now? So, a couple of pieces of advice.
Yeah, sure. And the first, I think the most important one, Karen, is to accept that you have very little control over that chaos. The root of so much of our stress, anxiety, and worry about the future is this notion that we've lost control. That's the root of all of this success, this stress, is that we've lost control. The truth is we don't have much control in the first place. I can't control my kids, my customers, my colleagues, I can't control any of those things. But the good news is I can control myself. So bring back the need, the desire to control your life, your career, your business, and the future to yourself right here, right now. You can control your words, your thoughts, your actions. So the key is get up every morning, control your morning, get up a little bit earlier, do the exercise, do those kind of things, meditation, prayer, to get the blood flowing. The second thing is, so control is very important. That's the first thing, is to control yourself, control your actions, control your words. And the second thing is, in this notion, in this world of chaos that we live in, is begin to move forward. And what that means is start creating, reinventing, transforming your business, your work, your job, your life, because the world has changed. The world has changed. And in order for us to adapt to this new world, we must begin to think about how we can adapt and how we can change ourselves. Again, going back to the control, how we can change ourselves to swim in this new normal that is coming up ahead of us. That's what I want to focus on, is controlling yourself and begin creating the future that begins now.
Yeah, that's so interesting. We always say you can't always control what you show up to, but you can always control how you show up. And I think just staying grounded in that can really help. If you
Yeah, and I
had,
think,
go
yeah.
ahead.
Well,
Go
I
ahead.
was going to say is that so often we're looking at this environment and we're saying, oh, it can't be true. Oh my gosh, it can't be true. It can't be real. I wake up sometimes and Karen and I say, oh my gosh, I look at the future and I'm like, it's so worrisome. It's so big. It's worrisome and you can't see a way out. It's surreal to wake up. But I always am reminded of the fact that, okay, what am I going to do about it? Right? What are we going to do today to change, to adapt, and get back into it? So if you resist the change, that's when you get obstacles, you get stress, you get anxiety. So once you accept that the world is fundamentally changed and it's not going to be like it was yesterday. Once you accept that, once you fully accept that, then we can begin to move forward.
Yeah, that's so good. I liked in your book this image of an Indian wedding, and you describe, I don't even understand, the elephants and all of this chaos. And you say, and at the end of the day,
Yes.
the two people are married.
Yes.
And, would you just say a little bit about that analogy? Because I thought that was so powerful.
Sure. A friend of mine I had taken to India, and he said, Bob, I don't get this country. It's so confusing. 1 billion people working. How does it work? Right. And I said, well, have you ever been to an Indian wedding? He said, no. Well, that's very instructive, I said to him, because Indian weddings are massive. Nothing goes according to the invitation. There's flowers are not neatly arranged on the table. They're all over the floor. There's a horse. There's an elephant. You can't be sure, but it's not for the kids. Nothing starts on time. There's hundreds and hundreds of people. But 8 hours or sometimes 3 days later, two people get married. Everything works out in the end. If you focus so much on the order in things, if you focus so much on what's coming next, and you're going to miss the best time of your life. So you have to embrace the chaos, go with the flow, enjoy the ride, because this is the moment right here, right now, that you're going to miss with your family, your loved ones, with the people you work with. You're going to miss it if you focus so much on what's coming next. So embrace the chaos is what I told him. And I realized coming back from from that India trip to my own life here in America at home, I needed to relearn to embrace the chaos. And that's what I wrote about in my book, Embrace the Chaos.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you very much for having me, Karen.